All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Atlassian Community event in Brisbane. Woohoo, yay. Thank you. Thank you for joining and coming out. Just before we kick off the proceedings, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we gather here today, the Turrbal and Yuggera peoples. I pay my respect to elders past, present, emerging, and I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people here today. I'd also like to acknowledge our community leaders that are here as well. So Kit and Anna, Stu, and our speakers as well. And of course, acknowledge you guys for rocking up and everybody online. So you're all acknowledged. Stu, over to you, mate.
All right, well, you already know me, but I'm going to be honest. The guys, when we had a beer across the road earlier, and we were talking about me introducing everything, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a thing that happens in Australia, which Ash just did, which is recognising the land and recognising the people, recognising the communities in Australia, and I'm actually really, really grateful to have that happen before me because. You know, I'm from New Zealand, I'm I'm 50-50 Indigenous, right? And so I live in this wonderful space of feeling like I'm connected to everyone. So I thought I would start and start my session off with introducing myself in Māori, okay? But I'm going to shorten it significantly, otherwise we'll be here all night, okay? So, tēnā koutou, te whānau, ko putuaki toko maunga, ko rangataiki toko awa, ko mātātua toko waka, ko uriroa toko marae, ko Ngāti awa toko iwi. And very simply, what I've just described to you is the mountain, the river, the land, and the people that I'm from, which is a little town called Te Tiko in the middle of nowhere in the North Island in New Zealand, which has got more maraes than it has public toilets. So you can kind of understand the demographic there. But I think it's a really good segue when you talk about being grateful for the land and the connection that people have to it, and also being introducing yourself and more things than just I'm Dave and I do Agile, right? I think it's really important, and it kind of says a lot about why we're here. Right, so we're here in an Atlassian ecosystem, which I kind of think of as this crazy big global family. Right, I've been to Vegas at Team, I've been to High Velocity in Sydney, and I just have these same conversations at the same really open level that we have in local ACE groups. So it really is for me a pleasure, and I'm highly grateful to be allowed to speak here today. That's my introductions done. The format tonight's very, very simple. We've got two speakers. They're both going to have an AI-themed conversation. We're going to have some beers across the road. I'm going to give away some merch, okay? And then I have to do the housekeeping thing too, right? So I don't know where the fire exits are, but you all came in a door and a lift. Run that way, right? Number two, the toilets are down the corner, down that way, right? You should have gone already. Number three, there's a couple of things I've been told not to talk about in Queensland. One of them is daylight savings, so we're not going to talk about daylight savings. I've been told in Australia not to talk about the cricket. Got two Indian guests here. And I've also been told not to talk about Atlassian pricing. So we won't talk about those things tonight. We'll talk about AI, we'll talk about, and our first speaker, are we going Anmol first? Is Anmol, who's one of the leading lights in the Sydney product team under the AI space, right? And I met him a year ago, right, at a session, and what he was doing there versus what he's doing now has transformed completely. And the velocity at which even people inside Atlassian are changing their roles and adapting is at hyperspeed. And I think that's a learning that we should all learn from the people who make this product that we all love, sometimes love to other things, is that we all need to adapt at pace, right? So I'm really looking forward to Amol's conversation about some case studies about how people are using in the field Rover. Sanket, who I will reintroduce later, is one of my bosses. He's a CTO, he's flown in from Pune in India. He is one of the co-founders and the head of development for Revyz. We're a marketplace app. Again, he will introduce what we're from. He's going to talk about using AI, but building a Rovo agent and then releasing it to the marketplace. So there's a couple of really good angles coming in. And then what I am is, from now on, is Mr. Merch. Okay, so if you're not paying attention, I might throw merch at you. If you are paying attention, I might throw merch at you. In the middle of the session, we're going to give away a couple of things, which involve cricket. Right, so with that, I'm going to hand you over to Amol. Thank you. Come on up, buddy.
Recording and see online. Cool. Awesome. Welcome everyone. Thanks for being here for this session. And we're muted. Good. Okay. Cool. Welcome everyone. So my session today is going to be about how to get the most out of Rovo agents. And before we get started, let's kind of do some hand check before we proceed. Like, how many of you have tried Atlassian Rovo or give it a try? Okay, handful of people. And how many people, actually, Stu already asked this question, like, how many of you have any idea about AI agents, what it is, how it works, but a little bit idea? Okay, somewhat, that's fine. Because that's what we are going to clear up, like the fundamentals, how it works, and it will help us like to build our own agents and interact with it. And that's what this session is all going to be about. My name is Anmol Agrawal, and I'm lead the developer relations program in Atlassian for Rovo. So like I help out the developers and partners build apps for our products. And because we have various products called Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, you guys know. But as Stu was pointing out previously, I used to focus on JSM before, but now I have moved to focus specifically towards Rovo and help educate using these sessions through these sessions and like how to work with AI. And that's something that I want to clarify today. Okay, let's get started. So we at Atlassian strongly believe that the winning teams in the future is going to consist of human teammates and AI teammates. And we are going to look at a couple of demos, like how this could look like. So one of the things that the core capabilities of the Atlassian Rovo, it consists of what we are calling it 3 pillars: the find, learn, and act. So the find pillar is about finding the information. Now the information within your company, it could be within Jira, Confluence, and also some other external sources like Google Drive and SharePoint and the common places that you know. So to be able to find the information that you're looking for at a particular time, right now there's like a lot of context switching. Like you have to look at one product, second product. So AI can automate and make it quicker to be able to find the information that you're looking for. So that's what the find pillar is. Now, once you have found the information that you're looking for, you want to try to make sense of it, like kind of learn. Like there could be tons of information, but you might want to learn some specific things. So that's what AI is pretty good at, like to learn, to be able to. Oh. Bad timing. So the AI is to be able to look at the information that it has already found and able to answer the queries that you have. And the third pillar is the act. Now, okay, you have got the information that you're looking for and you're able to learn some stuff. Now you want to do some stuff. For example, do some operations within Jira workflows or write a Confluence page with certain information that you're, and we are going to look at the demos. So these are the three main pillars. And for each of these pillars, we have a certain product which helps you with that. So we have got to be able to find the information. There is something called Rovo search, and I'll give a quick demo for that also. We are going to look at the Rovo chat, like how to, whatever the information that you have found, how to chat along with it. And the main focus of this session is the Rovo agents, like how to incorporate agents as part of your workflow, which is really the new way of work. And we'll get to that. Okay, so before jumping into the Robo agents itself, let's have a look at the fundamentals of what is AI agents, and everybody talks about it. So let's try to understand that using one definition that I found when I was looking for something very succinct, which um, captures all the components that an agent is. So as it says here, the agent is an autonomous entity within a software system that interacts with its environment to achieve specific goal. So there are three components. There's the autonomous entity part, which is like agent can automatically look for information and fetch for you. So that so it can work in an environment without a human intervention. So that's the autonomous. Now within a software system that interacts, so it interacts with the knowledge base it has access to, and not just get information, but also be able to act on your behalf. And third point is achieving specific goals, and that is what goals objectives you have, and what do you want to, the questions that you want to ask or the tasks you want to perform. So keeping that goal in mind, the agent is automatically able to interact with the data that it has access to, and that sums up the agent. But let's try to understand with an example. Let's consider this hypothetical situation we have where a library has a bot, and let's call it Libby. And its purpose is to help you with finding information or finding a book that you're looking for in the library. So in this case, I asked, let's say I asked this agent that if it can help me find a book on Titanic. Now, let's say this agent can perform a couple of actions. One is the info lookup action, which is like, in this case, if you want to, let's say I have asked, like, can you tell me more about Titanic, the history of Titanic? So it would probably be able to perform that action. And the second one is, let's say this, if Libby is capable of retrieving action on your behalf rather than you going around the library to able to get it for you. And so it would probably pick up the location finder action. So using this example, let's try to understand what are the different components of an agent. So how agents works is using, these are the four major components that make any AI agent. So the first component is something called UI, or user provides an input. If you have worked with GPT, you would type it out, the question, I've already done that, or maybe you would use the voice search or anything. So some way of providing the input to the agent. So that's the first one. Now the second one is the agent logic. Now agent analyzes the inputs that you have provided and the actions it can perform. And based on whatever the particular ask that you have made, it would, of all the actions that it can perform, it would try to select one of it. So if you go back to that example, so here I asked, like, can you help me find a book on Titanic? So it would probably select info lookup action in this case. The third main component is the knowledge base. So the knowledge base, it could be knowledge base articles, the APIs, the databases. So all the data sources that the agent should have access to be able to perform certain actions. So that's what the knowledge base is. So in this case, you can imagine that Libby has access to, let's say, a database of all the books in the library and where it's located. So that's a knowledge base. And finally, the LLM integration. So what this means, this is the glue in this whole agent, which now you have the user input, you have the knowledge base, and you have the agent logic. Now, the LLM or the large language model, which if you have heard of like the chat GPT-4, the Claude and all those sorts, so those are LLMs. So it tries to connect all these together and gives you the response or perform the action that you have asked for. So that's the agent part. Now we are going to jump into the robo agents, and there are a couple of ways that you can build your own robo agents and also interact with it. So the first option that you have, if once you get to try robo product, is something called out of the box agents, and we are going to see one of them right now. So you get access to, I think, about 25 out of the box agents, and you can get started immediately with it, and it will help you with some of your daily tasks. The second type of building the interacting with the agent or building the agents is by building it yourself. Now, if you have written some prompts before, so this is that's one of the way of building the agents, that you can write prompts, or we actually provide one agent builder, the tool which will help you write the prompts. So that's one way to build your agent. But if you want even more granular control over building the agents and the data sources that your agent has access to, you can do that through our Atlassian's SDK called Forge. And I'll talk a little bit about it, but also Sanket and Revyz, they will also going to present, because using that approach is how they build their agent. And third one is, like I said, the marketplace agents. So these are the different ways of getting the agent or using the agent. So we have many of our marketplace partners who have built agents and have published in the marketplace. So you can look for it, and if it meets one of your requirements, then you can get started using. Okay, so let's just start with looking at some of these agents. So this is one of the out-of-the-box agents that we have. It's called Jira Theme Analyzer. As you can see, it has like a little bit of description, and some of we call these conversation starters. Like these are the common questions that you can ask using this agent, that it has been tooled with to be able to answer these kind of questions. And then you have this interaction point called chat to agent. So let's jump onto it and look at it. So here is the text clear back up there? Yeah, cool. So here we have, like, let's assume we have a support desk with some of the requests here. So the way that you would look for that out of the box agent is, once you have access to Rovo, is at the top right, you have this chat option. So if you click the chat option, and you get this drop down. And here, one of the agents that you can see that you have is called Jira Theme Analyzer. So let's select that. And earlier when I talked about the conversation starter, so let's start with one of these. So here I'm going to ask, like, can you identify themes in my Jira issues? So it says that, all right, paste the link to your Jira search, and will help you get started identifying the themes for that. Okay, so here I have like a very simple filter like that I have created based on the issues. This filter looks for all the issues where the summary, which is this title, it contains the word API. So all I'm going to do is copy the link of this filter and give this to the agent. Okay. So what agent did was it, using the link that I provided, it fetched all the issues. And because this agent has the prompt to be able to do certain tasks or generate certain response, so let's take a look at the response that it generated. So first of all, it gives this nice table about the themes that it has identified from the issues that was fetched from the filter. So you can see there's a theme summary, and also the some of the details about the issues in that fits in each of those themes. So you have the API accessibility, documentation, performance related. Okay, not a bad start. So you can uh, immediately start interacting with this agent because it comes right out of the box. But now let's say that, okay, this response is fine, but I want to have a little bit more insight into the issues, which is like, what are the issues that have been raised recently, and what are the patterns in it? You want to get insights into it. So now you're asking a little bit more like complex use case. So for that, the other agent that I have handy here is called Jira Analyst. So I'm going to select this one. Now, Jira Analyst, this agent doesn't come out of the box. This is the one that that I created, but it's also available as the tutorial in our website. And this one is built using the Forge SDK that I previously talked about. So let's take a look at how this agent works. So but there's one tiny bug in this agent is that it doesn't work from this issue queue page. So just to work with it, I'm going to like go in one of the issues and then interact with the agent. So that's just slight gotcha. So here we have this conversation starter called Analyze Jira Issues. So let's click into that and see what the agent responds. So you can see there's a couple of steps it does is like it's reviewing your question, then getting the issue, invoking action called getting issues. Some of this stuff that I'll share the resources at the end on how to build agents like these, and that will make it clear what these invoking actions and all this means. So let's take a look at the response that's generated this time. So it starts off with like a very nice summary, like of the findings that it had. So it fetched all the issues in the queue, and then it represented like how each of these issues into categories and how many issues are there for each category. So you can see there's API issues, billing related issues, feature requests, security, integration. So you can imagine, and these categories are, in this case, it has been done because of every issue has these labels, which is commonly seen in any workflow. Now you can imagine, let's say I'm from the engineering team and I want to reach out to the support. Actually, this is based on the real conversation I had with one of our support teams within Atlassian. Like, what are the challenges that they face? And they get like, we get requests from all the different teams all the time. Like, can you give us the data about specific related type of issue? And it just becomes a blocker for them. So this is based on the real use case that, let's say I'm from the engineering team and I want to take a look at what are the engineering related support requests that the requests that support team has recently received. And just now you can imagine that if they have access to some agent like this, they can automatically fetch the data and start working get insights into the data and work parallelly without bothering the support team. So as we can imagine, like it gives also a bit of detailed explanations about each trends, the patterns that it has identified in the issues. So you can see a little bit of description. It also gives us some additional insights, like there's high number of API and building related issues. And it also gives us a really nice recommendation of how to go about tackling each of these issues in the category, because it can, using the prompt, I have told it like, try to find out what are the common themes between the issues in each category and give me some recommendations. And that's how it was able to generate this response. So we got to see, we saw an out of the box agents, and we also got to see one of the build yourself options. Now there's one more demo that I have, which is really nice. And these are all the out of the box agents that you get access to instantly when you get to try a Rovo product. Now, one of the things, there's another demo I would like to show, and which is really nice. And this is something that we at Atlassian envision that how it could look like where humans and AI work together collaboratively. So I'm just going to play this quick video clip, which is, I think, of 3 minutes. Right.
How do you deliver agents to automation to keep your knowledge base up to date and moving fast? Let's start by looking at the closed ticket in Revyz 2. All of these have comments and troubleshooting information sent by my JSM agents. Let's set an automation that finds gaps in my knowledge base articles. I'm going to call this role my knowledge base librarian. I want it to analyze recently closed tickets to find gaps in my team's knowledge, create new articles to review, and suggest edits to existing articles. I'll schedule this role to run every day in my name. That calls on the knowledge base librarian agent that analyzes all tickets closed in the last 24 in this JSM project and puts in these categories. My agent has instructions to output this response with a JSON list of objects, with a tag that tells it if that topic needs to be page, an update page, or is good as is. I then instruct the automation to branch for each object in that list, first searching by topics that need new pages. From here, I call another the knowledge creator. I ask it to review that topic and draft a how-to article. I then take that agent's response, paste it as the page content, assign it to a parent page, and also update the smart AI generated title. I publish this page as the knowledge creator. I also change the page status to ready for review. I also create a task in the knowledge base tracker for the team to review the article and mark it as verified. This issue will be created as a knowledge base librarian. For the next range, I then filter by the topic type of these activities. I then call in the knowledge creator to review the topic and look into all pages in that specific space and identify what needs to be updated. I ask it to list out the pages in bullets, recommend changes in bullets, and also write out a draft KB article. I then have to create a new task in that knowledge base tracker to have the team review these recommendations. After this rule is run, we can go to the audit and see that it has published the pages with the page status and ready for review. It has also created tickets for the pages that need review, as well as pages that need updates. Now, when I go into that Jira report, I see the tasks that my team needs to accomplish. This first one says it needs a new article on looking like the Gemscan. I can open that page and review the content that agent has reviewed. After I review it and decide if it's ready to verify, I can then edit that page and update the status. Going back to my board, I can then drive back to the status of done. Let's look at one of these updates. The agent has asked me to update 2 pages with these recommended changes. It is also linked to relevant tickets and the content. In addition to that, it has also drafted me a new knowledge base article with these changes applied. And just like that, I have automatically found significant gaps in my knowledge, which will speed up ticket deflection and help my support desk agents quickly assist our end users.
Yeah, means we already know like how good AI agents are, but when you combine AI agents with automation, that becomes even much more powerful. So as you can see in this use case, like there's some really good, nice takeaways from this demo that you can think about the part of your daily workflow, which is like, say, repetitive or the things that can be delegated to AI, which it's good at. For example, in this case, like finding the gaps in the knowledge base and updating it. So why not delegate it to the AI agents? So just to sum it up, like when going about building your own agents, we have talked about two ways. There's the no code way, which is just writing your own prompts like Jira theme analyzer. And there's the coded agents like the Jira analyst agent that I just showed. So I'm just going to quickly explain the differences between when if you are trying to understand like which to select for. And one thing before I go into it, like another thing that you just learned is, let's say you want to build an agent, then how to get started with it. So our recommendation is that you can start off with no code prompts. And as it becomes more complex and let's say you start hitting the wall, then go towards maybe the coded agent way. So the first difference between these two ways of building the agents is the complexity of the agent logic. So although it says just the simple and complex, but rather than that, think more like a spectrum. If the use case is more on the simpler side, then you would probably want to try out the no code agent. But let's say if it gets very complex, that you have to provide a lot of instructions to the agent, and sometimes agent has to really think through like what steps to take, and at times it hallucinates, it generates answers that you don't want, then in those cases you would probably want to go to the coded agent route. So that's the first difference. The second difference that there is that the no code agent, you get access to some data sources. Let's say you have the Atlassian products, of course, there's the Jira and Confluence, but we also provide some of the out of the box connectors like Google Drive, SharePoint, Slack, Figma, and all those. So you get so your no code agents have access to those. But with coded agents, you have access to not only just the Atlassian products and the connectors, but also you can bring in your own external data source. For example, you want to bring in your database, or if there's something that we don't have connectors for right now, but you want to bring that in, you can do that using the coded agent. Now, this is the main difference, I think, between the no code agent and the coded agent is that the no code agent, you might be limited to the manual work that you can do. So like you are solely relied on prompt, and once you start spending more time in it, you will realize that writing prompts is a very time consuming part. And also you might be limited by the product capabilities. Like, okay, you have the prompt and you have the connectors, but you might want to do more. And that's where if you try to leverage the forge capabilities, then with coded agents, it's a blank canvas. You can build as complex and whatever sorts of agent that you want to build. And last difference between these two agents is that, let's say you build a no code agent, then the usage is limited only to the cloud instance where you have built. Now, let's say you have built this agent and you want to share it with use it in other cloud instance. You would probably have to like copy paste the prompt, make sure all the configurations are done right, test it out again. So the share distribution of the no code agent is a little bit limited. But with coded agents, you can distribute it either to the marketplace, or if you want to use it in multiple instances, then for each agent, you have the shareable link. So all you do is just get that link and install it within the cloud instance that you want to use. So with that, we are almost at the end of this presentation, and I'm going to share a couple of resources for you guys. So the first link that we have is, if you haven't tried out Rovo yet, then you can scan this code. Be able to get started using Rovo. The second link that I have is to the resources. If you want to learn about how to get started building your own no code agent or the coded agent, then in this link, you can find resources to how to get started with that. Lastly, if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, if you have any questions, I post updates about the upcoming events and all that. So yeah, feel free to ping me, shoot me a question, and yeah, and I think now we'll have some time for Q&A. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Abnal. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do Q&A. And while we do that, we're going to grab a microphone so we can get questions from the audience. We will also take questions over Zoom. So for you lovely people following, pop in any questions you've got for Abnal. And while we're getting the microphone organised, I think what we'll do is I'll walk around the crowd and Ash will look at Zoom and we'll back and forth the questions a little bit, and it might be a little bit chaotic. Right. Hello, hello, hello. Working? Hello, hello. Yeah, great. It's not for this room, you know, I speak loud. It's for the people who are watching. So, so who has a question? Anyone got a question? Great. I'm going to do my steps today.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the presentation. I'm a former programmer, so that's why I'm very interested into Jira, Confluence, but also in how you do that coded agent. What kind of skill set, what kind of coding language do you use to code this?
Yeah. Okay. So the way to build the coded agent is through our developer platform. We called it Forge. And to be able to get started with Forge is all you need is the basic knowledge of JavaScript language. And apart from that, we have very comprehensive documentation, like all the modules that you can use to, let's say, build UI or make the agent interact with, like how to build the interactions and wire up your Atlassian product with your agent that you have just built, and also help like during the development process, how to debug and everything. So we have our documentation covers all of that. In fact, I think Sanket also will speak to that a little bit, because back in like a few months back, we got connected and just told about it and from scratch that that's how they started. Yeah, just the knowledge of JavaScript. Yeah, yeah. So there you go. So he's going to cover up that a bit.
Awesome. Next question.
Research involving in Jira, like all the access is received based on so is the same thing applied to
Yeah. So you can incorporate means when you use the Rovo product itself, then those permissions and the guardrails, those are already incorporated in it. So let's say, you know, executive level information and they want to keep some information private, but don't want anybody else to look into it. So yeah, so that's with the Rovo product. And with the coded agent, you can incorporate that yourself, like to do the checks that you want to put. So yeah, with the coded agent, it's definitely possible. Can you expand a bit more into that question?
Is there, I guess, I'm gonna talk about kind of pricing here, but like, so to get access to the product, pay as a consumer, or do you pay for people who are?
Okay. So for that, right now you pay as a user. That's pretty much as straightforward. Like it's not based on the number of agents or who build the agents. So it's just plainly based on the users.
With the workflow that you to sort of brand what level does the workflow?
So with the workflow, sorry, I missed the last part.
So if the workflow then
So the question is that I think the knowledge base use case that I explained was that like already pre-built in the workflow, or is that like some created something from scratch? So in this case, we created that from scratch.
and one user builds that workflow that's not.
Yeah, the workflows is shareable. Can you turn on the mic?
Does it work? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mel, thanks a lot for the presentation. Just a quick question. From the business point of view, what are the main advantages of using AI? Are we talking about data quality or team velocity or just spearheading in the industry? What are the main advantages? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the main advantages I would say is like, first of all, for the AI to be work really well is like it needs quality data. So that's something very important. Now, if you assuming that because everything is very much structured in Jira and Confluence, so that data quality problem is somewhat already taken care. Now, once you have the data, like as you can, couple of demos that I showed, it kind of one major advantage is that it removes the friction in our day-to-day workflows nowadays. So like I gave the example of engineering team reaching out to support agent, and it might hinder their work day-to-day work just to meet the engineering team's request. So one thing is where AI agent you can think about is some things where AI is really good at, which is like understanding the data and answering your questions. So leveraging that, that's one major advantage. And when you combine it with the automation, let's say the kind of like, because there are some certain tasks you don't want to ask agent again and again and every day if it's very frequent. So it's kind of delegating it to the automation, that's also removes the friction. So it makes it very efficient and kind of how I also use in my day-to-day workflow. So I think even if the answer that agent generates, it's not like 100% accurate, like, but it's usually like 70, 80% good, which is a very good starting point. I think keeping those things in mind, it kind of overall makes people very productive. That's how we see it. I think we had more questions.
I know there's a bunch of questions. I've seen 2 or 3 hands that are still straggling up there, but we're a bit conscious of time. We're going to take one more question from Zoom. And then for those of you who are here, we've got Amal later. Grab a beer with him, ask as many questions as you want. There you go.
Mayor Jada from India, which is pretty cool to be dialing in and doing things there, asks this animal. So, how is data security handled for connectors, especially the classified information? And then if you want to do his follow-up, vaguely related follow-up question is, how does Rovo know whether your information is relevant or crappy and old or not, basically? So, second one is, how does Rovo know that data is not old and irrelevant? Okay, so data security and data relevance.
Got it. Okay. So right now with the connectors, what we do is, let's say your cloud instance is connected to Google Drive, and let's say the files are constantly getting updated. So what Rovo does is to be able to, it fetches the data from the connectors on a regular basis and indexes it. So it's not exactly real time, but still fetches the data on the real basis, on the real time, almost real time basis. And the residency side, actually, this is a little bit more technical for my knowledge, so I can get back to it later. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. All right, so we're going to transition our speakers, but you're not off the hook yet. We have a wonderful India cricket jersey
Yes.
as a speaker. It's because you've been in Aussie for too long, my friend. So thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. And he didn't have one. And then we've got one more job for you. So while Sankit's getting set up for our next speech presentation, if anyone needs to run off to the bathroom, please do so. But we're going to get going really quickly, and we're going to do a little prize draw for you all. So Amal, you've got one more job.
Yes.
And I don't know how this is going to come off. Where's my ball? Right, come over here.
You want to help me with it?
Yep. Now, who can do a full toss bowl? Anyone? Come on. You want to? I saw you. Come on. Full toss bowl. Nice, light, gentle one. He's got to hit it into the audience, and whoever. There we go. Oh, am I the bowler then? No hands. Oh, you're also chickens. All right. So come a little bit closer because you've got to hit it, whack it into the audience. Whoever catches it gets the first of our door prizes. Are we ready? Are we ready? I can't hear you. All right. I'm going to do an Australian bowl. Oh, okay. All right. Full toss. Oh, okay. Come a bit closer. Hey, hey. Okay, that's it. Thank you, mate. There's the next cricket top. Yeah, well. All right. Come on up, buddy. You're going to take a couple of seconds to get set up. I'll throw socks around. Who's missed out on socks? I've got a story about the socks. I've got a story about everything. These socks are famous in Las Vegas. And they've been tested. I got sent them from my bosses in the States, and so I decided to run New Zealand's hardest half marathon called the GOAT across a mountain in these socks. The socks survived, but I didn't. So they're great socks. If you miss any, grab some from us at the end. I'm just going to keep throwing them around the room. If you get two, it's a bonus. Over to you. Over to you.
Awesome. Hey, folks, thank you for joining in. Am I audible? And online folks, it's working, right? Online people? Yeah, okay. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think, first of all, Anmol, thank you for walking us through the Rovo feature itself and what are the different use cases. I see there were a lot of questions around the security itself, very curious nature of human being around when I share my data, what happens with my data, how it is processed, where it goes, all those things, right? So that's what our business is, basically. Revyz is pretty much into data protection, and we protect Atlassian tools like Jira and Confluence. So I'm going to walk you through that. But quickly touching upon those certain questions, right? When the data is processed by any LLM kind of model, how that privacy is taken care of, where that data resides, where it gets ingested, it becomes a very, very important topic of discussion. And what we do is, again, from data protection point of view, we help customers back up their data, be compliant with certain regulatory processes. And when Atlassian announced Rovo, we thought probably we should be doing something over there, because most of the challenges that admins face today are around these difficult data management related use cases. So that's what I'm going to walk you through. Less of PPT, probably a couple of slides only, but more of demos and the questions that you ask, probably I would like to touch upon a few of them. Okay, so Revyz, we are backed by Atlassian themselves. We are data protection company where we provide data backup and restore solution for Atlassian Jira and Confluence cloud products. Quickly talking about what we do. Yes, first of all, we help you backup and restore your data to be compliant with different regulatory processes. But most importantly, we focus on the admin persona. Now, I've seen a couple of you are into Scrum or let's say program management, couple of you are admins, couple of you are developers and so on. So these are all different personas, right? But specifically, we focus on the admin persona where your day in, day out job is to manage that Jira system. You get a lot of requests around creating workflows, creating n number of config objects, and so on. And as a developer, as a DevOps engineer, you are tasked to, let's say, bring in all the changes, manage all the changes into the system. So that becomes a very tricky and tedious part of your job where, as an admin, you really have to manage the Jira configuration part, which, by the way, is not pretty straightforward and easy, right? So that's what we help you with in terms of moving configuration from one site to another site. We call it as sandboxing practice, be it, let's say, merging the sites or splitting the sites. That's what we help you with. And then finally, as we are data protection company, since we have the secondary copy, we want to give more value back to you in terms of what that data really looks like. And that's where analytics comes in, where we try to give you more insights from the secondary data that gets backed up. And ultimately, as you get more analytics, as you get capabilities to manage your configuration, we ultimately help you with the site optimization part itself, where you get n number of reports saying that, hey, your configuration objects can be optimized in certain way to improve your site health, to be more compliant with a number of different regulations, right? So that's what we do at very high level. Again, just a quick journey view of who we are, how we have progressed. It's been 3 years now in this marketplace, where we started with idea, we got it validated, started building it, took it to Atlassian actually, got funded, and now we are standing at platinum level. That is something Atlassian Marketplace gives you as badges. But in terms of apps, we have 6 apps today in Marketplace. The first 4 are basically data manager for Jira and Confluence, and then config and assets data manager for Jira. Now, the demo or what I'm going to walk you through is basically the AI variant or the Rovo variant of configuration manager app that we have. Now, let's quickly switch over from PPTs to, oops, just a minute, to the actual product. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through exactly how that product looks like, maybe another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can jump into the product, because this will help you understand exactly how that Rovo agent is helping you. And you had one question around what are those workflows, what basically the use cases are, and how it can help me improve my efficiency in a way, right? So this is something as an admin, let's say you're tasked to go ahead and manage certain applications. You're tasked to go ahead and manage certain, let's say, oh, this is my test app. Sorry, give me a minute. You're tasked to go ahead and manage your Jira site's configuration, right? So in that case, what really happens is you as an admin, you spend a lot of time on Jira configuration to understand how things can impact if you make certain changes, right? So what we do is on daily basis, we take a snapshot of your Jira configuration site. And typically what we do is on daily basis, we cover all these objects from Jira configuration point of view. So you go ahead and modify your fields, you go ahead and modify your Jira workflows, you go ahead and modify your screens, no problem. On daily basis, we are going to take a snapshot of all these objects. Of course, we can back up Jira issues, we can back up assets if you're aware of assets, but that's the other product. In this product, it's only configuration part. So as we take those backups, what we do is, let's say as an admin, you start deploying certain things. You start deploying changes to your workflow, or maybe you start deploying changes to your screens. It's a risky change typically, right? You want to first test it out into your sandbox. Then once you're comfortable, you want to put it into your production. But still, things can go wrong. And now if you want to really revert, there's no clean way of reverting those changes. You have to go through a lot of documentation so that you can revert those effectively, right? But with this product, what you can effectively do is, let's say you want to recover the entire site's configuration, you can go for that. You want to, let's say, recover a project, just a single project, you can do that. Or maybe you can revert granular workflows or fields or screens or issue type schemes and so on. So that's one of the high level view of what different use cases we help you address as admins. But then you won't be recovering and you won't be cloning things on daily basis. What you would be doing is you would be basically analyzing what your or how your system is changing, how your system is evolving, right? Now, one of the difficult tasks, those who manage Jira over here would understand this, that all of a sudden, within a team of couple of folks, someone changed some configuration object and no one has clue who changed what, and it breaks things, right? So the first thing that we built was insights into like what changed in my system. So here, what you're seeing is the graph tells you instantly what changed between 21st of November and 26th of November. Literally, I think I didn't change anything because it's my production system. But let's say I go back maybe a couple of months or maybe 3 months or so, and I say, hey, show me everything that changed from August till November. Now it says, hey, there are reds and greens, right? So I as an admin or you as an admin, you will always be worried about what are those reds, what got deleted. So here you get to see exactly which workflow was deleted, which workflow was created or modified. So this becomes a very important task for an admin to understand how things are changing and then to act on it, right? So till now, again, from Jira UI point of view, identifying these things are have been a bit tricky, right? So we are trying to simplify that. And as we engage with admins, as we got the feedback, this was very helpful. But then again, going through all these details take time to analyze. Let's say I want to see what that workflow was. I click, I go here, I find certain details, I act on it is one part of it, right? Now imagine my app is one of the apps admin is using. There are a couple of other apps, maybe Script Runner or a couple of other apps, right? Learning all these apps can be a bit tricky. That's where precisely Rovo kind of agents or AI agents come in, where you talk to that agent in, let's say, natural language, and you start getting responses pretty quickly. So one of the use cases that we identified was, yes, our app is a very huge app. We cover a lot of different use cases, be it, let's say, insights, be it recovery, be it reporting, be it health, site health. Here you can see there are tons of reports which we give back to admins to optimize the site. But as an admin, if you really have to learn all these things, it takes some time, right? But with agents, AI agents, what can happen is now you can start querying very quickly and you will start getting responses instantly in natural language. So that's something we identified as potentially we can save a lot of time for admins or the users of our app, and we built that Rovo app. Now, before I get into the Rovo app itself, what I want to talk about is Anmol showed us 3 ways of using AI or Rovo agent, right? The third one was specifically you can code your own agent. The first 2 that he showed were pretty much like intuitive in a way. You can just say, hey, create I don't know, yeah. From here, you can say just create an agent, which is very intuitive and basic, right? But if you want to go for advanced one, what you do is you create your own agent through the Forge framework that Atlassian offers. And what we have done is on top of our backup app, we leverage that Forge framework to build this AI agent and integrate that within the Jira site itself, right? Now, most of the data that Rovo can access today is, let's say, from within the Jira product itself. It's Confluence, it's Jira issues, and then a couple of other external connectors like Microsoft and Google. But one challenge that we saw was it was pretty much focused on the user persona. So as users or program managers, they want to understand what is going on in the issue part, which is the data part, right? But the row itself doesn't query or let you query the configuration part of Jira, which is typically the admin persona. And what we said was, okay, since we understand that, since we process that metadata effectively, what we would be doing is we'll be pushing that process data from our app back into the Rovo system so that Rovo can take that data, structured data, and convert that into natural language responses, right? So that was the idea with which we started. It started when I was part of one of the Atlassian events where Anmol and team were there, and we talked about this and we built this app in, I think we started in August, and we delivered this app in, let's say, mid of September, if I recall. So within 1.5 months, this app was ready, right? So the reason I'm trying to tell you the time frame is, if you're a developer, if you're tasked with certain things, of course, you can also do your research and get your app ready probably in a couple of months or so. Okay, now talking about the use case itself for admin, where that admin was supposed to go in this UI, look at certain things. Of course, it's intuitive, it's going to give a lot of details, but still admin has to learn where to go and do certain things, right? So now instead of doing that, what admin can do is admin can simply come in to Rovo agent, because that's my daily workflow. Admin can say, hey, was my last backup successful? Again, in interest of time, I prepared all these chats or questions upfront. So what I did was I just asked, what was my last status of backup? It says there was no successful backup. Now I switch my site, so let me show you that. What I have in here is basically a test site where I purposely marked all of my backups as partial success. So for some reason, my backups are failing, right? And as an admin, I have to come to this dashboard, check out what is going on, and then maybe troubleshoot it further. But I don't want to log in on daily basis, right? So what I do is I come to chat, I say, hey, what is the latest status? Is it working? Is it failing? Now it says, no, there were no successful backups. For some reason, something is failing, right? Now, if that happens, what you say is, show me all the snapshots. So now it says there are 3 snapshots. This is the timestamp when these 3 snapshots were taken, right? So if I go back to the UI, I can see the job IDs and timestamps of all 3 snapshots. Now, just before this session, I triggered one manual backup triggered by me over here, which says I just gave a tag Brisbane Ace demo, right? So here it shows me that the snapshot is present, which is still partial successful, right? So what I can say is, can you get me the details? So now I can start drilling down into that snapshot without really having to get into the UI itself, till I really want to get into the UI, right? So chat always may not be able to get you all the details, but it saves a lot of time. Let's say you have to jump into 10 different screens. Instead of doing that, I'm just chatting and I'm getting all the responses. So now if required, I go back to the app. I say, okay, show me all the details where, let's say something went wrong, which I marked as artificially, I marked it as failure. Now you can start seeing what exactly broke during that backup process and you can troubleshoot, right? But the idea is it saves tons of time or minutes for you if you're doing this process or these steps on daily basis. Now, second use case is, let's say you delete issues or users delete issues. You want to understand what issues were deleted. So instead of going back to UI, you just chat and say, hey, show me all the deleted issues. So when I asked it for the first time, in my system, only one issue was there which got deleted. So now in Jira, you won't be able to find which issues were deleted. This app will tell you which issue was deleted, right? Then what I did was I asked, hey, which user deleted that issue? So it gives me user identity. And then I deleted another issue and I ran the same query or question. And it told me now there are two issues which were deleted as per the list, right? So imagine this kind of system where you're chatting and it's trying to give you all the information real quick, how much time it can save you, where you're repeating these tasks on day-to-day basis, right? One last thing, again, one example. I just come in here and I say, hey, show me all the workflows which are present in my system. So now, of course, I can go to UI, I can go to workflows page, but then I have to go to so many pages and maybe wait for those pages to load. So it takes some time, right? But in here, I just say, list the workflows present. It gives me all the workflows. Again, pretty basic query, right? Then I say, hey, show me all the dependencies of one specific workflow. It comes back and analyzes that workflow on the fly, tells me, you know what, this workflow has so many statuses, it has so many screens, and it is connected to a workflow scheme, right? So all these things, now you can, without going to specific Jira configuration pages, as an admin, you can start chatting and you can start getting these details in one single place. So that's the idea where, as an admin persona, you're trying to do certain things on day-to-day basis. You want to cut short that time. You can start using Rovo agent over there. You can build something of your own. You can always go for marketplace, ready-made apps, and so on. But that's how it's going to help you, right? Now, talking about a security context, what happens is, again, Rovo is going to look at what you're giving as input. If you're building this app programmatically, it will always let you decide what data needs to be processed, what data needs to be skipped from your responses. So you're always in control of what needs to go back to your user, be it a user persona, be it a manager persona, or be it an admin persona, right? So you're always in control of showing the responses to your users. So let me pause and see any questions.
Hello, hello. Thanks, Ed. Have we got any questions?
Change to here so that I can ask question. So great presentation. Thank you. Just want to check, how do you actually improve the accuracy of the responses? Because I've not, we know that one of the main constraint about AI is the accuracy, and how do you fine tune it?
Good question. And for that, what I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to repeat this question. Just look at the details when I ask this question. It instantly shows you analyzing your question, invoking certain action, and then it's going to get some data back to you, right? Now, since this app was written programmatically, what we do is we have defined actions. And I think that was one of the questions, how do I program it, right? So this is one of the manifest files that we use where we have instructions written down, right? So just give me a minute. Okay, there you go. So there's a module for Rovo agent where we have certain conversation starters and we have certain actions. So now, to be precise, we weigh in certain use cases, we have certain instructions written where we say, hey, if you get this kind of question, you have to process this in certain manner. Now, in our case, what happens is everything is not done by Rovo. When we back up, because our app is majorly backup oriented app, we take that data, we already have certain way of processing and analyzing that data and building reports. We have data structured in certain way, which tells us, okay, these are the details of whatever that bullet point is, right? So the data is already present. What we do is we take it in a structured manner, we push it back to Rovo, and Rovo interprets it, reads it. We have instructions for that too, where it says, hey, as an action, you're going to do certain things. When I give you certain things, you're going to read it in a certain way, and then you're going to convert it into English language, right? So that accuracy part is taken at multiple levels, where we fetch data from Atlassian, we process it, we clean it, we link it to each other, because Jira config is highly interconnected. We do a lot of checks over there. When we push it back, we teach Rovo agent saying that, hey, you have to read certain things in certain manner. And then it shows that data to you, right? So all those responses that you see, the structure over here is being defined by us. It's being taught to the agent, and then agent processes that information in certain manner. Right?
I can add to Sanket's answer. It's more like the philosophy because kind of like the way I explain is, let's say, if I have, let's say, a heart problem, then kind of who do I go to, like whether the GP or the heart surgeon. So if I go to the GP, he has very generic knowledge and based on generic knowledge, generic skills. So he will give me vague answers to my problem. Okay, but let's say if I want to get very specific and very detailed answers, the heart surgeon has that skills and knowledge base. So that's one way of I explained, like giving the analogy, like to be able to make sure like that the agent has that knowledge and skills and what kind of questions that you're asking for. So in this case, this is the backup manager, the one that I showed, the analyst, Jira analyst. So it's specialized in and giving you the analysis of the Jira issues. But let's say you ask Jira analyst issue some data backup related question, it's not skilled for that. So that's why I just wanted to mention that to keep in mind when working with agents.
So there's no generic agent, right? Sure, there is, but the accuracy is going to be pretty less over there, right? But that's why you have, let's say I click on agents, right? So I go and browse agents. All these are from Atlassian themselves, where they have created agents specific for certain tasks. And that's where Revyz kind of vendors come in, where we have tweaked that agent, we have instructed and taught that agent to handle certain cases in certain manner. So that increases the accuracy overall, depending on how you tweak your agent for certain use cases.